Bitcoin just ripped past new all-time highs. Now we're over that 125K mark. Do you think that this is the start of something bigger, or are we just seeing a euphoric pop before a correction? Where do you think we're headed?
I'm not the price analyst guy, but in general, I think we are extremely early. I mean, no one is even waking up to 125K Bitcoin. No one even woke up to 100K Bitcoin, right? I mean, 10 years ago, we fantasized about 100K Bitcoin melting the internet and the brains of all the anti-Bitcoin people. But I think when we hit 100K, it was basically deafening silence. And I still think there is deafening silence even at 125. So I think we are still early. How early, I don't know, but I think we're on a great trajectory. And like you said, with this government shutdown, Bitcoin going up, seems like it's a risk-off asset.
Right. And you mentioned that we've reached these new all-time highs, even the 100K level, to not a lot of euphoria or seeming general fanfare. I remember during the last cycle top, we got to 69K. I couldn't turn the TV on without someone screaming Bitcoin, and we're hearing a lot of silence right now. How do you account for that? Why do you think we're not hearing it on a mass media scale the way we did last cycle, even though the price is in 6 digits now?
I think people just dismissed it after it went down the last time, right? After we had a big correction last time. Also, of course, when FTX blew up, that was a very bad look for crypto that I think also tainted Bitcoin in a sense, especially in mainstream media. And so I'd say on one side it's that, and maybe on the other side it's they maybe they don't want to see us winning, right? Like constantly sharing that there's a new all-time high, for example, mainstream media could also be perhaps a protective measure, right? Because people could ask themselves, why is this actually happening? And I mean, that's a common theme that I've seen also with, the people that I've interviewed, is that a lot of them dismissed it in the beginning and thought it would die, right? There was a big correction and they thought it would die in 2017 or whatever. And then in like 2020, 2021, they were like, this Bitcoin thing didn't really die. Maybe I should pay attention, right? And I think that might also be a reason. But honestly, I don't think there will be any retail euphoria until maybe 200, 220, something like that. Something that is even mind-boggling to us, right? Like we all expected 100K at one point, but I think 200K would be something that would be highly celebrated, I think, also just in the Bitcoin community itself.
Yeah, I mean, I know those numbers certainly play a big part in the psychology of people, getting into the Bitcoin space if they haven't already. Do you think maybe part of the reason we're not seeing the same level of euphoria is because people were out and maybe now they're feeling like they're priced out of Bitcoin, like it's too expensive? And you and I both know you can buy Bitcoin down to like the 8th decimal point, right? But do you feel like a lot of retail right now is feeling just kind of priced out of Bitcoin? They're like, I missed the boat. I can't get on board now. There's no more upside. Are you getting that idea or that sentiment at all from people you talk to?
Yeah, I think unit bias is definitely a problem, right? I think just in general, understanding Bitcoin is hard, right? And then to eventually also understand that it's divisible in 100 million sats, and the fact that you don't have to buy one Bitcoin, I think, is something that people need to learn. And on the other side, what you're describing, I think, is a symptom of the nihilism that fiat money brings people, right? Like, I lost anyway, and other people won, so I'd rather stick with this money that's eroding in value every day instead of doing the work. I think it is daunting to learn Bitcoin to a degree, but also, like you said, that people just think like, even if you have $1,000 or $5,000, or just not the amount for a whole Bitcoin, you're like, okay, I'm going to spend this, right? That's what people think. And then I'm going to have 0.098 something Bitcoin. Yeah. What difference does that make? I think it's a pity, right? Because eventually the use case for Bitcoin is superior money, is superior savings technology, something to protect yourself against infinite debasement. So yeah, you have to learn it one way or the other. But I agree, the unit bias is a strong one, and so we should tell more people that you don't have to buy one Bitcoin, you can buy a fraction.
Right. I was going to ask, like, on your podcast, how do you go about like communicating that to people? Because like the way I try to do it is, and I've had plenty of friends who are like, oh, I hear in this Bitcoin thing. And I'm like, well, listen, if I told you that I felt very, very certain that I had this stock that was going to 10x over the next 10 years, would you be interested in buying it? And these are like, a lot of my friends are traditional finance guys. They're like, of course I would. I'm like, well, that's seemingly what's happening right now. So what do you think we should be doing to help people understand that like we really are still just getting started and Bitcoin's got a lot of room to run?
Well, I think two things. If your friends say yes, but then dismiss you as a person who they have known for a very long time, and then don't look into Bitcoin because you said the term Bitcoin. I think that by itself is a very fascinating thing, right? Like I actually told this to someone today. Like I've been doing a podcast for 2 years. I talk about Bitcoin every day. I have a more chill life than before, also because of Bitcoin. I'm trying to live it, and no one is calling me. Yeah. Right? No one is like, hey, why are you spending time on this thing? Can we call for half an hour? Can you like explain why you're doing this? No one, literally, 0 people that I know. Some people that listen to the podcast and then reach out, but like 0 people that I know. So I find that fascinating. But then, yeah, I think to answer your question, we are extremely early, right? If you eventually, after study, of course, see that Bitcoin is the hardest money to ever exist, the best store of value to ever exist, then you've probably shared this on the show before, but you have this overview made by Jesse Myers of like all the value in the world, and it's about the Bitcoin's potential value, right? So there's 900 trillion worth of assets in the world, and about half of it is cash. So the other half is basically the total addressable market for Bitcoin. That's 450 trillion, and we are at 2 trillion. So even if we would capture 25%, 50% of that away from, for example, equities, real estate, gold, art, we would be at a 10, 20x. So I think that is the room that Bitcoin has to run, and eventually over time, anything else that you think you can own, you don't really own, and it or is a liability or loses value on purpose. So there isn't really any other option than to eventually adopt Bitcoin. But this is also why I think we are still extremely early. I think probably 400K or 500K is still would still be considered early eventually. So I just think it takes some time, and this is also the opportunity that people have, right? This is an asymmetric opportunity based on publicly available information. Anyone can study this. Anyone can study to eventually understand the problem. Anyone can study to eventually understand why Bitcoin could be a possible solution for them. We obviously think it is, right? But yeah, it's a mind virus in a sense that goes one by one. So it's a slow adoption rate in that sense.